The inauguration ceremony for the Ram Temple in Ayodhya is set to start on January 16th. The consecration of Lord Ram is scheduled for Jan 22nd. We do know two journalists who have been invited though. That is Navika Kumar and Malini Parthasarathy, because both of them tweeted photographs of the invitation saying they were really excited and privileged to have been called.
I know someone else who's been invited. I don't know if to call her a journalist, Nupur Sharma, Pop India.
Just the other day, a UP bureaucrat called me and said, there is massive resentment among Brahmins against Yogi because he patronizes just his community, namely the Rajputs. So is he going to be replaced before the Lok Sabha elections? I said, it doesn't look like. Not after all this razzmatazz over the Ram temple.
The only chief minister in the country who actually stood up to Modi was Yogi Adityanath. He was not necessarily Modi's first choice. And we've seen in the last election of Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Rajasthan, how poor Mama has, in fact, yesterday he was talking to some ladies in Madhya Pradesh, they started crying. He said, sometimes you are getting ready for Raj Abhishek or whatever, for a crowning, and you are given Vanvas instead, that you are exiled.
This is definitely about Modi and less about Ayodhya, because as you rightly said, Ayodhya gave them whatever dividends it had to before 1992. Before the program started. In fact, I was telling, I reminded Raman Kirpal that the BJP lost the UP election in 1993.
The entire media has been hijacked before, so they all are singing in one tone.
In fact, I think they're
not even questioning, and throughout our time, we used to call this place as a disputed structure. Now, after Supreme Court's verdict, even that thing is over.
Welcome to Chota Hafta. Now, Chota Hafta is but a small, chota version of a complete weekly podcast, Newslaundry Hafta. The Newslaundry Hafta is where you get the week's news, what made the headlines, what didn't make the headlines, but the full version is available to subscribers only. And I don't mean YouTube subscribers, although YouTube subscribers are also very welcome, very, very grateful to you, but also to Newslaundry subscribers, the paying subscribers who pay to keep news free. So you can also become a paying subscriber by clicking the subscription link. Now, what do you get if you're a paying subscriber? You get access to all our paywall content, all interviews, podcasts, and importantly, you get access to a full unedited Hafta, where you not only get to hear the week's news, but you get to hear the Newslaundry editors' positions on matters. You get to see their biases, what are their prejudices. It's an exercise in transparency while also informing you, and we have a few quips and jokes and agreements and disagreements thrown in. So listen to the full Hafta, subscribe to Newslaundry, and pay to keep news free. Here we go.
अंग्रेज अपना लगान और न्यूज़ लॉन्ड्री अपना हफ्ता कभी नहीं छोड़ते. Welcome to another episode of NL Hafta. Today in the studio we're recording on the 4th of Jan, which is Thursday at 3 in the afternoon. And joining me in the studio is only our editor-in-chief, Raman Kirpal.
Hi.
Joining us on Zoom, online, is our very own Jayashree Arunachalam from Chennai.
Hello.
And our guest today is Radhika Ramaseshan.
Hi Abhinandan, hi Raman.
Hi.
And Radhika is joining us online from Delhi. She's the consulting editor with Business Standard and the columnist. She writes on politics. She is currently working on a book on Uttar Pradesh politics seen through the prism of the state's top leaders since independence. So Radhika, you've been covering politics in UP for a while?
Yeah, I moved to UP in 1989, a week before the Shilanyas was done. And I was literally blooded into the UP system, political system, so to speak, with the coverage of Shilanyas. And I was there right till the demolition of the mosque and a little thereafter.
So in fact, we will come back to the discussion, a more detailed discussion about Ayodhya and the Ram Temple, because that is what has dominated a lot of headlines all week. But I have an announcement related to Ayodhya. The first two NL Sena reports on Ayodhya should be online by next week.
Yeah.
Our two crack reporters, Basant Kumar, whose work all of you are familiar with, and Shweta Desai, will hit the ground. They have already spent some time in Ayodhya. They will be spending a lot more. And because we want this to be an on-ground reportage with all sorts of interesting stories on the economics, on the economy of Ayodhya, on the ecosystem, the politics of it. There's some human angle stories. What you will see on legacy media will, of course, just be the Prime Minister and how grand he is and how grand he has made this temple. But since this is going to be both an issue of huge political significance and an event that does impact, millions across the country and hundreds of thousands in the local economy, I think it is only proper that some regular proper ground reports also come out of this. Those will be funded not by the government ads that are funding legacy media, but by you. So do click on the link in the show notes below or go to newslaundry.com and participate in this NL Sena project, because we say when the public pays, the public is served. When advertisers pay, advertisers are served, and we only depend on you, the public. On that note, let's get the headlines and we shall get into the discussion in detail with the panel. Jayashree, please.
So the Indian Railways has tightened norms for zonal railways furnishing information under the RTI Act. This is after an RTI response revealed the cost of selfie points with Modi that have been installed at railway stations. So it's also transferred the Central Railways PRO. This is after just 7 months, when usually it's done after 2 years.
Right. Basically, that response that revealed how much has been spent on the selfie points has got this man in trouble.
This under the Act, only the PRO, they are the ones who handle all the RTI applications. Okay, they are the ones who have to process it. Now, they have made it completely draconian. I mean, the GM has got lots of tasks. So now he is going to decide
Every RTI,
whether information needs to be given or not given.
Now, since, this whole Ram temple inauguration is dominating headlines, and I'm quite aghast at some of the coverage that I see on channels, especially this one show that I saw on Network 18 with this really ridiculous boy, Anand Narsimhan, where the seer said this.
यज्ञ करना कराना ये दोनों ब्राह्मणों का काम है। यज्ञ ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय वैश्य कर सकते हैं, आमंत्रित यज्ञ में शूद्र भी अधिकृत हैं। यज्ञ कराने का अधिकार ब्राह्मणों को ही, वेदाध्ययन ब्राह्मण क्षत्रिय वैश्य कर सकते हैं, कराने का अधिकार ब्राह्मणों को ही। मोदी जी लोकार्पण करेंगे, मूर्ति का स्पर्श करेंगे और मैं वहाँ ताली बजा के जय जय करूँगा क्या? मुझे पद नहीं, पद तो सबसे बड़ा प्राप्ति है, मुझे श्रेय नहीं चाहिए, लेकिन थोड़ा आप विचार कीजिए धर्माचार्य वहाँ क्या रहे हैं।
This is what demonstrates to me, this has, as Radhika was saying that before we started recording, that the movement has lived its life. This is all about Modi. Because if it was about the whole Hindutva thing and Hinduism, someone like, the seer of the, Puri saying something like this would be such a big deal. It's not. It's only about Modi. So the Ram Lalla being able to get you votes, that time is over. It got you all the votes it could. Now it's all about Modi. Is that right? Is that what you were saying, Radhika, before we started recording?
Absolutely. And the irony is that Modi was not known as someone who was actively involved in the Ayodhya movement. If I recall, his first trip was in 1991 as part of Dr. Murli Manohar Joshi's Ekta Yatra. He came as Dr. Joshi's Sarathi. And of course, recently he claimed that 32 years after the Yatra is over, I want to recall those moments. And I was the chief organizer. Again, it was more about himself and less about Joshi or the Yatra per se.
So just resolve this for me, Radhika, that if Modi is the issue in UP, how does Yogi wield that kind of power to be able to give an ultimatum to that party?
He's playing some kind of a role. Of course, it's a Modi show, but Yogi is also very much there. And he has a kind of niche following of his own, more than a niche following of his own. He's also identified with, being on top of law and order in Uttar Pradesh, bulldozers, politics, and so on. So I don't think it's going to be easy to replace Yogi. If they do it, it could be before the next UP elections, or they may not declare him as the CM candidate. So Yogi, you're absolutely right. Manoj Sinha was Modi's first choice to be the chief minister of Uttar Pradesh. But Yogi mobilized his MLAs, he mobilized the support of the VHP and the RSS.
So, Jayashree, what about the South? I think with Modi's call that celebrate 22nd Jan like Diwali, you see this kind of, and it is going to be a huge event at least in North. It's going to be a big event no matter what many people may think of it. And many people will light diyas. There will be that whole Astha thing
Yes.
happening. You foresee any of that happening in the south? If at all this is an issue
No, I mean,
there?
in Kerala, no. In
Okay.
Tamil Nadu, absolutely, from sections of Tamil Brahmins who would
Hmm.
support and vote for the BJP anyway. So, yes. In Karnataka, though, it's very different, right? Because in Karnataka, the VHP is doing the entire push, urging that Bangalore malls should have live screenings of the temple consecration and the inaugural. They've been barging into houses door to door in Bangalore to try and ask people if they can see their puja cupboard so they can lay down pamphlets and flyers of the Ram Temple. And so since the VHP is very active in Bangalore, that's what's happening. But otherwise in Tamil Nadu, in Chennai, which is where I am, no, there's no real currency for the Ram movement.
And is the local media covering
There
it?
I agree with Jayashree, yeah. I would imagine that they would give a big push in Telangana because that's the other frontier that they're trying to cross, Andhra, I'm not sure at all. But Telangana, I think they would use the occasion to make a big push and at least try and activate their core support.
I think Karnataka was active in 1992 also. And it's going to be more active now when even Ram Lalla's deity, the guy who has made it, he comes from Karnataka.
I think Karnataka has at least 3 or 4, like Raman sir said, top people who are involved either in making statues or in design and things. So you have this sort of endless coverage of, the new airport, the railway station, which plane will fly there first, which Vande Bharat train will go there first. But considering you guys were there at the time, are you shocked or surprised that there is just no mention anymore of the masjid? I mean, the background of it and the sort of horrors that happened are very much whitewashed. And I'm saying not only in what we would call media that favors the government, but even in basic reportage of it. The Babri masjid is all but gone. So does that surprise you? I mean,
the temple was bound to come up 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 10 years, whatever, through legal means, extra legal means. But there was an inevitability about the whole the script, the way it was proceeding. So nobody mentions the masjid. They couldn't care less. I mean, I really wonder if the Muslims of Ayodhya, it will be worth checking out if they really care so much about a masjid coming up, or they are resigned to their fate because they've gone through so much. I mean, before every VHP event, they were targeted, the Muslims. They were asked to leave their homes. The families were asked to leave their homes. They were intimidated. Their shops were burnt a number of times. I mean, I've covered the burning of shops at night, before a VHP event and before the final assault.
Iqbal Ansari, who was the litigant in the Ram Janmabhoomi Babri titles, was seen showering flower petals on PM Modi's motorcade in Ayodhya.
Right.
This is on Saturday.
Right.
And when they asked him, he said he has come to our place, he's our guest and he's our PM. So what I'm saying is even the person who was the litigant was standing in line with flowers in his hands, So there is that sense of, dude, this is what it is now. We've come this far.
We are not surprised, by the fact that temple has come up. But yes, as media persons, scene was very different those days.
Right.
Even we didn't have telephone. So the Radhika and others, they used to fax their stories.
Teleprinter.
I used to file on teleprinter because my paper was a poor paper at that. Patriot used to be a poor paper. And we were under no pressure whatsoever. There were so many people over there. It was quite threatening. It was quite scary. But when it comes to reporting, nobody was holding our hands. Okay.
Absolutely.
So we
no
reported.
compromise at all.
We reported as we saw. Okay.
Right.
And which is not happening now.
बस मुफ्त में इतना ही मिलेगा. For the full uncut podcast, subscribe to Newslaundry and pay to keep news free. The best way to listen to the Hafta and indeed all our podcasts is through the Newslaundry app. You can download the app by clicking on the links given in the show notes. So do download our app and get the best podcast experience. And also pay for news and support a new news media ecosystem that Newslaundry is trying to encourage, where we are accountable to you because we run on contributions that you make. We don't take government ads, we don't take corporations ads. So that news serves the public. Because when the public pays, the public is served. Subscribe to Newslaundry, click on the link in the show notes below and proudly say, I pay to keep news free.